Now, Townsville is a place that is not too small. There is a sporting team there. I believe it's called the Cowboys. I don't follow it. So it is small enough, but it's not the biggest city. I knew back then that the opportunities that I had in front of me were not enough, and I knew that I was greater than that. So I moved. So I thought, well, I have absolutely no clue what I'm going to do, but I'm going to move to the biggest city in Australia, which is obviously Sydney. And to give you some context, I had never used public transport in my life when I moved to Sydney, to the point where I felt scared. It was before Opal Card. And the other thing was, in these big skyscraper buildings, I was going for an interview, and I didn't realise that they're actually segregated by different levels. I just thought there was one elevator that went to the whole floor, and I was stressing out because I was running late for my interview. I didn't know that. So in terms of operationally and just environmentally, things were so much different. So what I'm trying to say to you, the delta to where I started, and that was 8 years ago, to what I'm doing today, is a big difference. And that's the difference that you guys can make. Okay, recruitment consultants, if you actually looked at my CV, you're going to realise that I had multiple jobs. None of those I actually got fired at. That's the thing. I actually never got fired. But what happened was, I was searching for something. I get to a stage in a job and I'm like, no, it's not it. It's not a thing. I don't like it anymore. I didn't like it. So what I did was I left. And I left because I believed that I was not living my authentic life. And that's what happened. I kept searching for the thing that I believed that I believed that I was fitting in the most. I speak to people all over the globe, founders, senior leaders, junior people. People are in jobs that they absolutely hate because they feel the need to continue. And I was never like that. And when I would go for these interviews, recruitment consultants would be like, oh, 6 months here, KB, not doing real well there. And I said, yeah, I get that, but I'm going to tell you something. I left because of these reasons. I always found a way to talk my way out of why I had left a job. But it even got to the stage where they said, you're so unique. And I'd meet these different recruitment consultants, and before they'd say, you're so unique, I'd have to interject and say, oh yeah, you think I'm really unique, yeah? Yeah, the last 15 people I've spoken to in the last 2 years said the same thing. But I never cared about what other people thought about me and the jobs that I left after 6 months. I hear this a lot. KB, she's tough. I'm actually not. I like unicorns and I really like dogs, to the point where I go and do errands up the street that's supposed to take 10 minutes and it ends up being 30 minutes. I live in the North Shore where every second person has a little dog, so I want to pet them all the time. And I actually sort of befriend the dog owners to the point where like, okay, I'm going to go now. I'll tell you something. I'm tough because I've had adversity in my life, both personally and professionally. And sometimes people will judge you and think, she's got these walls up. I do. Because I've had to work so hard to earn my stripes in this industry and to build that street cred. And that's why people say I'm tough. But the people who really know me, they know that there's that absolute vulnerability there. Yeah, I was always different. Everyone always used to say to me, you're always different. Managers would pull me aside and say, why are you so different to everyone else? You think so differently to everyone else. You're so different. I used to feel so sequestered from everyone else because I was different. I was different since the day that I was born, and my parents told me that. I'm very different, Karissa Breen. But I think being different is good, because who the hell wants to be like everyone else? Because I don't. Now, I want to give you some examples. None of those are in chronological order. To talk to you about some of the things that have happened in my career that have been hurtful and nasty, purely, but it hasn't stopped me from doing the things that I've wanted to do. Okay, so when I was in my early 20s, one of my first jobs in cybersecurity was working for a large bank. My job back then was I was a reporting analyst, so what I used to do was go around the bank, collect all of the data, put it all together into the report that actually was presented at the board. I was very young, I thought it was a pretty cool job, a cool opportunity. That's when I started to really get involved in the communication space. I knew how to tell stories through data and metrics and language. Then once the report actually got presented to the board could see, okay, cool, we need to invest more money here, we need training, we need education through the reports that I used to produce. Okay, so getting more to the point, I was doing my monthly rounds and everyone used to see me going around every month like, oh, KB, she's doing her rounds again, that means that we have to get a report ready. And I went up to this particular team and I said, hey guys, I really need this information. And this woman, she came into my face and she said this to me, maybe you should focus on fashion reporting than security reporting. And everyone was like, what? She said that? Everyone actually did a double take. The thing that this woman said to me at such a person who was such a young age, this is what she said to me. I like fashion. That's what I do on the weekends. I like to create. It's creative for me. But I felt punished because of who I was. Did it offend me? Absolutely. I'm a human. I have feelings. And I feel that because you're different sometimes, people forget that you actually do have feelings. This is another thing that happened to me. Again, there's that saying in psychology that you don't necessarily remember what people say. It's actually about how they made you feel. I was in a meeting one day and this leader said, well, you're not very well educated because you're from Queensland. I sort of tilted my head and I thought, well, that's a very broad proposition that you would think that people from Queensland are not educated. The naivety that actually came out of this leader's mouth, I was shocked. And I was really upset because that is such a hurtful thing to say to someone who's trying to do good in the company. I use this one all the time. It's actually kind of funny because I went into this meeting and there's a whole bunch of people in there and the statement was, who are you? Are you the secretary? Are you here to take the notes? Actually, no. I was there to tell them all the vulnerabilities we had found in their application that they had been building for 2 years. So what that meant was they had an image in their mind about what a security practitioner looked like. And I obviously didn't fit that mold. I had my own mold. Again, I was upset because I was just like, well, I felt like my lack of confidence had gone down in that meeting to be able to tell them this is the issues that we had because of this comment. Oh, I love this one. I still get this one to this day, that I have a weird accent. I get it a lot. I own a media company. I have a podcast. I do lots of blogging. I interview people globally. But define normal. What does a normal person sound like? I have no idea, but apparently I have a weird accent to the point where I was so scared that people were going to judge me, I went and got voice coaching. And voice coaching is not cheap. Because I felt out of place. People are crippled by other people's opinions on them. If I had cared about what Tiffany in finance thought about me, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. And I feel there are so many talented people sitting in front of me who are crippled because of what old mate on the internet thinks about them. Yep, it's really difficult because we feel so judged all the time and we're not at our potential because of what someone else thinks about us. Even after all those people said those comments, and to be honest, if I had to list every single comment, we would probably be here for years, but I wanted to highlight a few things that really stood out for me, and I believe that may resonate with you guys. Every day, my self-belief on who I am grows. Even back then, as that young 22-year-old I think I was, when that fashion reporting chick came up to me in my face and she said that, I knew deep down on who I was and I knew I was greater than that. So it didn't matter. It didn't matter what she thought, because I knew that I was going to be greater than what she believed of me. And I say to entrepreneurs because they ask me, oh, what am I going to do? I don't believe in myself. If you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to believe in you. No one else cares enough. You have to make people care about you. And that stems from a self-belief. And it actually exists. Okay, so moving on to my original story. When I got to like I said to you, I got to a stage where I just quit my job. 2017, I literally woke up one day and there was this sickening feeling in my stomach. I was like, I don't like this job anymore, that's it, I'm gonna quit. I'm quitting. I went in and I quit, and they were so shocked, like, whoa, we didn't see that one coming. So I did. I told my family, friends, industry peers that I'm quitting. And you know what surprised me? No one questioned me. No. Some people even said, I'm not surprised, I thought you would have done that earlier. No one questioned me at all. And so, as I said, I do work with a lot of founders, and people just sometimes build tech and thinking people want it. I didn't do that. I reverse engineered. I said, okay, everyone. I went to people all over the globe in consulting, that are in vendors, that are senior management in corporations. I said, what do you guys want? Two things. Awareness, we suck. Cool. KBI is a media company, and our job is to raise the awareness globally about cybersecurity. Second issue, okay, we're a little bit awkward, we don't know how to communicate, help us. The second part of KBI is a digital communications agency that specializes in cybersecurity. That's what we do. So I reversed engineered it. Although, like, doing that, it did take a lot of hours. I'm assuming everyone in this room has seen that, the iceberg photo, like the success, yeah. I probably still work 80 to 100 hour weeks some weeks because I care about what I do. And people aren't going to see that. People just think that I swan around on social media all day. I wish I was permanently swanning around on social media. I'm really not. Running your own company is hard. It really is. And I feel that when I talk to people, they are born entrepreneurs, and I believe I'm one of them. This one. Rejection sucks. When you go out on your own, yeah, people are going to reject you straight away. When I first went out, they're like, no, not good enough. Not good enough. Fine. I knew that I had a vision and a belief. And sometimes when I speak to technology founders who are absolutely killing it now, I said, just because someone doesn't see your vision doesn't mean that they won't. So who cares? And I'll tell you something. Company who rejected me when I was leaving the bank, they thought you can't use a CRM. When I was doing all this coding in Tableau, apparently I couldn't use a CRM. They hired my firm last year. So it doesn't matter. They rejected me then, but they hired my firm last year. Okay, so I think I need a drink, sorry. I think I'm okay, so in the early days, because I had all of those random industry, different companies I was working at, so I had this industry perspective. You can look it up on LinkedIn. I think there might not even be a job when I first started that's not even listed on there. I did a range of different things. But what that meant was that I could look at other sectors and go, oh, that's missing, I'm going to bring it into this one. So what I knew back then, around, 18 months ago, 2 years, was that to build your profile and to raise the awareness of your company, you need to do content marketing, which was originally hashtag KB on the daily. Some of you may remember that. It was like literally an everyday vlog. Yep, a few headlines, appreciate that. We're actually thinking about resurrecting that hashtag so it can be daily again. But I remember people were like, what are you doing? Why are you like vlogging like in a car? Why are you like talking about random stuff for? What are you doing? People actually looked at me like I was a dog walking on its hind legs. And I'm like, well, this is what other people are doing. Haven't you seen Gary Vaynerchuk? That's what he does. I'm injecting it into this industry, but it's because I was different. People hate that, especially in Australia, apparently. But it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Because again, I had a vision and I didn't care about what anyone else thought about me. Okay, I really love random people on the internet. Okay. First of all, I'm actually extremely introverted and everyone says, no, you're not. I actually am. When I was a kid, I'm half Italian, if you hadn't noticed, that's why I use my hands a lot. When I would go to family functions, people would say to me, hey, Karissa, how are you? I couldn't respond. I was so choking of nerves that my mother had to respond to me, probably until like age 12, 13. So the fact that I'm standing up here today is a really big achievement for me. The fact I do media is beyond my belief, but anyway, that doesn't matter. But a couple of things about why I love what I do. One, I love haters because I'm just intrigued by what they do all the time. People will spend 15 minutes crafting the awful, most nastiest response, whether it's to our main media email that someone else will pick up and like, what the hell is that? Or they'll send it to me directly, or they'll comment on my video. I just want to give them a hug to be like, I just wish you were happier. There's this thing in psychology that people hating you about what they don't like about themselves. So when so many people are like, how do you put yourself out there? Well, I don't really care. But second of all, the other thing is, when people hate on you, it's because there's an insecurity in themselves. That's 100%. And it took me a long time to get there. The second thing about why I absolutely, this propels me to do what I do every single day, regardless of the haters and the naysayers and whoever else, is what people say to me. I have had people all over this globe message me who say, I've had really bad depression, I see your videos and I feel inspired, thank you so much. I don't know these people. I've had people say, hey, I really saw your post, I don't really know how to grow my security company and I can't really afford to hire you just yet, but I really appreciate the value that you give out. That means a lot to me. I even had a woman that I put up this post like 2 years ago about how I got rejected because I couldn't use a CRM thing. She said she was looking for a job and she said to me, I was so depleted and had no energy. I saw your post about being rejected and it inspired me and it motivated me. Thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate it. She got this like awesome job, I think at like Channel 7 or something, and she was killing it. And I was like, wow, like I just did a post, but I really appreciate that. To the point where a year later, she comes back, she sends me her wedding photos. She was like, thank you so much, KB. I did this and I've done that, I'm doing this. And I was like, whoa, that's really cool. I never met this girl. I liked it. It really made me feel so happy inside and it really cancels out the negative people. Again, also who cares about what Mary Jane in North Carolina thinks of you? It doesn't matter, who cares? We are going to lose in this industry if we do not start embracing people who are different. Because I'm different and so many of you are holding back because you care about what old mate the fashion lady thought of me. You have those people in your organization. I know it, I've been there, I know. We need to start embracing people who are different, who think outside of the box and who challenge the status quo. If I'm that kid from Townsville, if I can do it, you guys can do it.